Protect Your Mind. A short story about strong motivation. Once upon a time, in a small village nestled among the mountains, there lived a young man named Marco. He was 25 years old, full of life and fun, but his mind would never rest. From the early hours of the morning until late at night, his head was always filled with thoughts, worries about tomorrow, regrets about yesterday, and countless unanswered questions. No matter how hard he tried, peace would not stay by his side. He couldn't sleep easily nor smile effortlessly. Every day he felt as if he were carrying a heavy, inexplicable burden. One noon, while thinking by the riverside, Marco overheard some people talking. They were speaking about a wise old man who lived in a distant village. They said that this man had once been a famous psychologist. He had helped many people find peace. But now, as he had grown older, he preferred a solitary life in nature. Sometimes, however, he still accepted visitors, those who lacked inner peace. This thought stuck in Marco's mind. Maybe he can help me too, he said to himself. And one morning, as the sun rose, he packed a small bag and set out on the village road. The road was steep and lonely. The wind carried the scent of pine, and the only sound he could hear was that of his own footsteps. Days passed, and finally he reached the village that people had spoken of. There, on the porch of a small wooden house surrounded by trees, sat an old man. His eyes were closed, his hands rested calmly on his knees. There was something different about him, as if the whole world had paused just so he could breathe peacefully. Marco quietly approached and in a soft voice said, "Sir, my mind never stops. I think too much, I worry too much, and I don't know how to find peace. Please, can you help me?" The old man gently opened his eyes and smiled kindly. "If you are truly seeking peace," he said, "I will give you a small task. Follow me." He led Marco into a small room. There he poured water into a glass, right up to the edge, almost overflowing. Then he handed the glass to Marco and said, "Take this glass, walk to the end of the village, and come back. But remember, not a single drop should spill." Marco blinked in surprise and wonder. It seemed like a simple task, but he quickly realized how delicate the balance of the water was. Still, he accepted and began to walk. The village was lively. Children playing by the road, shopkeepers calling out to customers, dogs barking in the distance. But Marco didn't notice any of it. His eyes were fixed on the glass in his hands. Every step, every breath, every heartbeat, all were focused on keeping that water from spilling. When he finally returned to the old man, he held out the glass joyfully. "Grandfather," he said, "I did it." Not a single drop spilled. The old man smiled again. "Good," he said softly. "But now tell me, did you see the children playing? Did you hear the dogs barking? Did you notice the people passing by?" Marco replied in surprise, "No, I didn't see or hear any of them." All my attention was on the glass. The old man slowly nodded. "This, my child, is the secret of peace," he said. "When your mind does not get lost in the past, when it does not worry about the future, fear disappears and the storm within you calms. Today, you thought of nothing else. You were completely here, in this moment, and in that moment, your mind was silent." Marco stood quietly, letting the truth of these words weave into his heart. Peace was not something to be found outside. After all, it had always been within him, merely hidden beneath the noise of his own thoughts. As the sun disappeared behind the mountains, Marco smiled for the first time in a long while. He thanked the old man and began walking back home. But this time the world was more beautiful, the air softer, and his heart had finally found peace.